Welcome back, children. So, we were studying about the second chapter, that is sexual reproduction in flowering plants. In this video, we are going to study about a new topic, that is pollination. Okay, so pollination is the process of transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma of the flower. Okay, so this process is known as what? Pollination. Okay, so what do you mean by pollination? It is the process of transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma. So depends on the source of pollen. Pollination can be divided into three types. Okay, the first one is the autogamy. Okay, autogamy, and autogamy means it is the pollination that occurs between the same flower. That is, it is the pollination occur between the anther and stigma of the same flower. Okay, so in normal flowers which opens and exposes their anthers and stigma. Okay, so in this kind of flowers, autogamy is rare. So autogamy you can see especially in flowers which will not open at all. Okay, so they will not open. That kind of flowers are known as cleistogamous flowers. Okay, cleistogamous flowers. So what are cleistogamous flowers? The flowers which will not open are known as what? Cleistogamous flowers. So in this cleistogamous flowers, autogamy is the type of pollination occurs. So what is autogamy? It is the type of pollination in which the anther and stigma, okay, so the pollen grain from the anther of the same flower will fall on the stigma of the same flower. That kind of pollination is known as what? Autogamy. And in cleistogamous flowers, okay, what are cleistogamous flowers? Flowers that do not open. So in this flowers you can see this kind of pollination. Okay, and so the other type of flowers which are usually opens and whose anthers and stigma are exposed are known as chiasmogamous flowers. Okay, so chiasmogamous flowers are what? The flowers that opens usually, and cleistogamous flowers are that which will not open. Okay, and cleistogamous flowers are invariably autogamous, as there is no chance of cross pollination. Okay, so what is the benefit or advantage of this? They need not to depend on cleistogamous flowers. They need not to depend on any other pollinating agents. They can directly get pollinated by their own pollen grains. Okay, so they are pollinated by their own pollen grains, and also there will be assured seed set, means there will be seed formation assured. Understood? So they don't have to depend on any other pollinating agents. So you would have heard, if bees are playing what important role in the pollination process and seed formation. If bees are not there, the crop production will get affected a lot. Okay, because that much the plants are depending on the this pollinators, okay, for their pollination. And this cleistogamous flowers, on the other hand, they are not having any such problems. Okay, so first type of pollination is what? Autogamy. Okay, autogamy. And then next we have to study about the next type of pollination, that is geitonogamy. Okay, geitonogamy. So geitonogamy means what? The transfer of pollen grain from the anther to the stigma of another flower of the same plant. Means between two flowers of the same plant the pollination takes place here. Okay, so even though geitonogamy is functionally cross pollination involving the pollinating agent, okay, but there is no difference, okay, in the anther's genes and the or pollen grains genes or male parents genes and the female parents' genes. There won't be any difference. They are same because they are from the same plant. Okay, so why they are a kind of cross pollination? Because what is needed? Pollinating agents are needed. But what happens when they pollinate? Okay, there won't be any difference in the genes of the male and the female parent. Is it clear? So that is geitonogamy. Then next is what? Xenogamy. Xenogamy is the transfer of pollen grain from anther to stigma of a different plant of the same species. Okay, so pollen grains of different flowers may fall on the stigma of a flower, but only if the pollen grain of the same species falls on the stigma, then only it will be allowed to grow. Understood? So xenogamy means if the pollination is taking place in between two different plants, okay, two different flowers of two different plants. Okay, so in this type there is genetic difference between the male and the female parent, or the pollen grains and the stigma or the egg. Okay, egg actually even though stigma receives the pollen grain, the original fusion takes place between the gametes, isn't it? Male and female gametes. So between this male and female gametes there will be difference. So that is what the difference between xenogamy and geitonogamy. In geitonogamy and xenogamy, pollinating agents are involving, but in geitonogamy there is no genetic difference between the male and the female parent, or the pollen grain and the egg or the stigma. Okay, but in the xenogamy the two different parent plants are involving. Is it clear? Okay, so there are three different types of pollination. On the basis of what? On the basis of the source of pollen. Okay, so they are autogamy, geitonogamy and xenogamy. Okay, and we have also discussed about the chiasmogamous flowers and cleistogamous flowers. Okay, difference between them are chiasmogamous flowers opens, okay, with their anthers and stigma exposed, and cleistogamous flowers are those which do not open at all. Understood? And examples are there. For example, viola, oxalis, commelina, etc. They can produce two different types of flowers. Chiasmogamous flowers also they produce, and cleistogamous flowers also they produce. Okay, so this classification of pollination is based on what? The source of pollen grain, from where the pollen grains are collected. Okay, for the pollination process. Then next we are going to study about the agents of pollination. Okay, the different agents that take a role in the process of pollination. Plants use what? Various agents for their pollination. Okay, so sometimes they can use abiotic agents, and sometimes they use biotic agents to achieve pollination. So abiotic means what? Like non-living things like water, okay, wind, etc. they use as the pollinating agent. So in this case the chance of pollination is very less, isn't it? Because it's a chance factor. So to compensate this, what they do? They usually produce a number of pollen grains, or enormous amount of pollen grains they produce when they are pollinated by the abiotic agents. And biotic agents, if they are getting pollinated by the biotic agents, at that time the plants will produce nectar, or they produce color to attract this pollinating agent. So let's see how this the characteristic features of the plants which are pollinated by the wind. Okay, so wind pollination, if it is if wind pollination is the method of pollination, then the pollen grains will be light and non-sticky. Okay, light and non-sticky, Then they often possess well exposed stamens so that what the wind can easily carry the pollen grains. Okay, and then feathery stigma. Okay, so that the stigma can easily trap the pollen grains. Okay, so usually they have what, single ovule in each ovary and numerous flowers. They'll be forming what, inflorescence. You have learned about inflorescence, isn't it? So these are the characteristic features of what, wind pollinated plants. What are they? They are having what, their pollen grains are how, they are very light and non-sticky, and they will be produced in enormous amount. Okay, then what, their stamens are well exposed, then stigma are feathery. Okay, so that they can, the pollen grains can easily be trapped by the stigma. Okay, and they are having a single ovule, okay, in each ovary, and they form usually what, inflorescence, so that the wind current which carries the pollen grain can pollinate a number of flowers in the inflorescence. So these are what, some of the characteristic features of what, wind pollinated flowers. So wind pollination is also known as what, anemophily. Anemophily. Okay, anemophily is what, the wind pollination. Okay, is also known as what, anemophily. Anemophily. Okay, anemophily is also is what, the wind pollination. Is it clear? Wind pollination is also known as anemophily, and the flowers which are pollinated through wind is known as anemophilous flowers. Is it clear? Then next we have to study about the, so wind pollination you can see in what, grasses, okay, and in corn cobs. Okay, maize you have seen, no? So in that you what you are seeing as hairs, okay, and that is the tassels are actually what, style and stigma are these help in trapping the pollen grains which are brought by the wind. Understood? So examples of wind pollination is what, in grasses. You can see in grasses. Grasses are usually pollinated by wind. Understood? Then next is what, pollination by water. Okay, so pollination by water means here the pollinating agent is water, and here so in flowering plants, okay, water as the pollinating agent is very less, but when you compare the what, bryophytes or algae, water forms the major agent in the transport of male gametes, isn't it? We have studied bryophytes, they need what, water for the transfer of male gametes to the the archegonium. Androzoids are swimming through the water and going into the archegonium, isn't it? But here in flowering plants, very less plants are adapted for water pollination. Okay, then some examples are there, that is Vallisneria, Hydrilla. Okay, so they are examples. Okay, then seagrass like what, Zostera. Okay, Vallisneria, Hydrilla, then what, Zostera, etc. are what, examples of water pollinated plants. Okay, so it is not necessary that all the aquatic plants use what, water for pollination. For example, water hyacinth, water lily, even lotus, etc. they what emerge, their flowers will be seen above the water level, and they will be pollinated by insects, isn't it? You can see that insects will sit in the visit the lotus flower or water lily, etc. Understood? So they are brought, this what flowers will be seen above the water level. Then in Vallisneria, okay, in Vallisneria, it's a kind of water aquatic plant. The female flowers reach the surface of water by long stalk, okay, and the male flowers or pollen grains will be released onto the surface of water. Then they will be carried passively by water currents, okay, and they will get what, attached to the stigma. Okay, so stigma the female flowers, okay, that will reach to the surface of water by long stalk, and the male flowers or pollen grains, they'll be released into the water, and as the water current reaches to the female flowers, they will get pollinated. Okay, then another group of water pollinated plants such as sea grasses. Okay, female flowers will remain submerged in water and the pollen grains are released inside the water. Then you can see that as the pollen grains has to be inside the water, they have certain adaptations, like what they are having long ribbon like, okay, structures, and they are carried passively inside the water. Understood? So these are what, so this question was asked, how pollination happens in Vallisneria. Okay, so in Vallisneria, how it is taking place? The female flowers will reach to the surface of water, and then the male flowers or pollen grains will be released to the surface of water, and then they will reach passively by water currents, and likewise pollination occurs. Okay, then what in some other group of water pollinated plants such as sea grasses. Okay, female flowers will be submerged in water, means it will be under the water, and pollen grains will be released inside the water. So the pollen grains, instead of in order to save them from getting wet, okay, they are having some adaptations. What are they? They are long ribbon like, okay, and can passively they can get carried passively. Okay, so when they reach to the stigma, pollination occurs. Okay, and some of them, okay, to protect them from wetting, they are having what? Mucilaginous covering. Okay, so when the pollination is taking place inside the water, the pollen grains are having some adaptations. What are they? They are covered with certain mucilaginous covering so that they can save from the wetting. Understood? They can get escaped from the wetting by water. Is it clear? Okay, then. So in today's video, we have studied about the different kinds of pollination depends upon the source of the pollen grains, and we were studying about the different kinds of pollination on the basis of the agents of pollination. Okay, so there are two types of pollinating agents I told. We can classify them into two. What are they? Biotic and abiotic. Abiotic means which are non-living agents like water and wind. So we studied about the characteristic features of wind pollinated plants and some examples of plants which are pollinated by water. Okay, so hope you all understood.